content marketing, Wright Brothers. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. Today I want to talk not about this book. This is a kid's book. But I wanted to talk about a quick passage from it, because this is a really unusual thing to come across. So I've just recently put together a course that I'm going to be doing live. And if you want to get in on that live course, it's going to be happening July 29th, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And you can be part of it. This is a course that once we record it, it's going to be available from that point forward. In fact, if you get on the live course, you're going to get access to the recording from that point forward. Well, not right off the bat. Once everything's recorded and put in its place, you're going to have access to it from that point on. And anything we add to it, honestly. So this content marketing training is, and you go to livecontenttraining.com to sign up for this. Only the first 100 are going to be able to do it. If you get on the live training, the reason I really want you to be there, because I have a relatively small audience that watch and listen to this. And so if you're listening to this and you have a chance, if you're listening to this in time, so July 29th of 2022, I want to make sure you get in on this, because this is going to be fun. This is a first one for me, and so I'm going to give a special discount. Now, you can buy it from my website for $90 from that point forward, or it might be a little bit more expensive by the time you're watching or listening to this, but it won't be any less than $90. But I'm going to give a special discount just to try and pack the house, get some people in there. Like I said, we're only allowing 100 in. So the first 100 that sign up for the live content training, livecontenttraining.com, you're going to get to be part of this training that all has to do with content marketing and really answers one major question. Should you even do content marketing? Now, there's at least 7 scenarios where I would say you should not do content marketing. I'm going to cover them there. I may even reveal some of them beforehand, but you'll definitely want to be there for that, because if you shouldn't be doing content marketing, it'll be a huge weight off your shoulders. You won't even have to worry about it every time people bring it up. It's one less thing you don't have to worry about. But if you should be doing content marketing, you ought to know, and you ought to have an idea in just a general sense of what content marketing is and what it can do for you, and some of your options, what's available to you. We're going to cover all of that. The name of the training is Should We Even Do Content Marketing? And like I said, livecontenttraining.com. Now, let's get back to the Wright Brothers, shall we? As I'm studying for this and putting all the material together, I've had material over years and years. I've been involved with content marketing for a number of years now, both with clients I've worked with, doing it for myself, and so that lots of stuff that I've collected over the years, and I keep running into more things. The more I focus on it, the more it pops out of nowhere. I'm reading this book to my son. Okay, we have this. We love to read history books to each other. He's 8 years old, and so I'll sit down. He could read on his own, but I like to get in there and read a book to the kids before they go to bed. And so we were reading this one on the Wright Brothers. Okay, and this was really interesting. That this is of all the people, I never would have thought I would find an example of content marketing that involved the Wright Brothers. And it was actually previous that they had even invented. So the Wright Brothers, if you're not aware, these are the first human beings to fly in a motorized airplane. Okay, they had gliders up until that point, and they had a whole lot of other things. These are the first guys that did it. They are the first ones that did it with a pilot and a motor and some wings. And these are the first people that did it back in the early 1900s. And previous to that, they got really hopped up with bicycles. In fact, that helped fund a lot of what they were doing, because they opened up their own bicycle shop during this huge bicycle craze of the late 1800s that kind of swept over America. That what happened is bicycles have been around for a long time, but they started becoming inexpensive to create, and anybody could make them. And so they even came out with a bunch of their own models, and they were getting some attention doing that. Now, previous to that, both of them were involved. This is Wilbur and Orville Wright. They were both involved with a local newspaper. And so they got involved in news quite a bit, and they understood that market. And that was because they started on their dad's newsletter, a newsletter that went out for the local church. His dad was involved with the church, and they helped out with that. So they had this long relationship with basically promotions in print. They got this idea. And so when they had their bicycle shop, this is an interesting point I'm going to read out of here. It says the brothers used their newspaper experience to help get new customers. Now tell me if this sounds like content marketing to you, because this is what it is. They said they printed what looked like an issue of a newspaper and filled it with ads and information about their shop. A term that we call advertorial nowadays, or a magalog when you're dealing with a magazine that works more like a catalog. They created a fake exam for local students in which all the answers were about their bicycles. Okay, you still see this online nowadays. These little quizzes and stuff that you could take, that it ends up being an advertisement. You know, this is really interesting. They were doing this. This is late 1800s, okay? The brothers also built a large bicycle for 2 riders, but to get people's attention, they made the wheels 4 feet tall. I mean, these guys got marketing, okay? They knew how to stand out. They knew how to put things out there, and they knew how to use print in a way to get attention. All they had to do was give it the appearance of content. You tie content in with your advertising, with your marketing, and you have content marketing. All right, these guys got it. This started popping up a lot during those days because printing machines were starting to get inexpensive. They were still large printers, but the movable type printing, and they were beginning to pop up all over the country. Where in the early days, around the early days of the country, when Benjamin Franklin was printing and everything, it was a very big, intensive, expensive way of doing it. And they were getting better and better at producing this stuff. So you saw from that time period, the early 1900s, you saw a huge boom in people that were getting good at the concept of advertising in print. And that becomes a huge piece. Now, content marketing goes back further than that, and we're going to discuss that on this training, the livecontenttraining.com. Go check it out, sign up. If you're watching this later, we may have another training having to do with content. We'll keep you up on top of it if you go to that website. Other than that, you can get recordings of all of these trainings over at brianjpombo.com. That's all I've got for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be covering another area of content marketing. And in the meantime, you get out there and let the magic happen.